You hatch from an egg the size of a pinprick, and bam, the first thing you encounter is a hostile world of overbearing green. It's warm, but rather a sun-drenched, perilous expanse of a Maconia leaf. Your nursery is alive with the deafening hum of the rainforest. The floor is a vibrant, waxy surface, where old spiderwebs are a constant, terrifying threat. You're born needing an immediate meal, not from a pantry, but directly from the plant's vascular system, and you better hope your mother is nearby to protect you from the constant aerial threat of parasitic wasps, because you are very much not on your own. Your survival depends entirely on her vigilant, protective watch. No warm salutations here, no cozy embraces. Your mother? She is now a phantom of the past, off to commence her subsequent progeny, likely on an adjacent foliage. It is merely you and your numerous brethren, most who have already fallen over the edge to their ignominious demise, like drunk freshmen tumbling off a frat house balcony. You are not kin to them. You are a mere collation. You commence with merely 6 appendages, 3 pairs of spindly, marginally functional segments jutting from your pea-sized corpus. In arthropod parlance, you are essentially a rudimentary blueprint, a pale green afterthought that resembles a minuscule cicada with identity issues. You are nowhere near the complete, peculiar spectacle you are destined to become. That baffling orb-encrusted monstrosity that will one day protrude from your thorax like a chandelier at a rave thrown by extraterrestrial interior designers. It is survival of the fleetest, and you have barely deciphered the mechanics of your own limbs. Forget childhood wonder or carefree exploration. There's 0 time to frolic on the waxy, exposed, single leaf you've been unceremoniously plopped onto. It's survival of the jitteriest. You're entree-shaped. An assassin bug could arrive at any time. Leafcutter ants? They would relish hauling your microscopic carcass back to their nest like a grotesque 6-legged party favor. So you pump those spindly little legs like a caffeinated goblin, scuttling for sap and shelter with the frantic urgency of someone who knows, deep in their fragile exoskeleton, that one poorly timed snooze means becoming somebody's protein bar. Because, spoiler alert, it absolutely, indisputably, catastrophically does. And then there's your fragile image. You are now considered a juvenile, having developed these utterly ridiculous, hairy, helicopter blade-looking pom-poms on your head. Wild, hairy, rogue-ass antlers, actually called a pronotum, and nobody actually knows what it's for. Perhaps camouflage, intimidation, or just pure chaos. And you can be sure to be bullied on the schoolyard. There's nowhere to hide. Your entire universe is one leaf, one singular, flimsy, exposed leaf. You're basically a neon sign for predators, like a jelly-filled donut, abandoned in a break room full of people who definitely skipped breakfast. The odds, catastrophically one-sided. It's a bright, isolated, botanical hellscape out there, and your mission is simply to avoid becoming an hors d'oeuvre in the first 5 minutes of existence, because when you're this microscopic, your diet is less buffet and more forced liquid detox prison sentence. Your entire menu is plant sap. That's it. Sap forever. If you're exceptionally lucky, like win the insect lottery levels of lucky, you might stumble across a speck of something vaguely edible. Maybe some mildew. Maybe a microscopic bit of plant gunk. Maybe a nutrient flake that tastes like despair. But let's be honest, sap is your whole personality. Forget taking down big prey. Forget variety. Your mouth parts, those delicate little sap-slurping straws, aren't conquering anything. They're just sipping eternally, pathetically. So you cling to your sad little leaf, slurping whatever watery plant juice it begrudgingly provides, hoping the universe tosses you a microscopic crumb of anything else before anything, devours you instead. It's a high stakes heist for anything other than juice, but hey, that's life when you're stranded on an island high in the canopy. Everything around you seems like it's part of some twisted survival game. Spiders lurk in the branches, ready to pounce. Ants march in intimidating, coordinated armies. One wrong move, and you could find yourself stuck in a sticky patch of web or washed away by an afternoon storm. The canopy isn't just your home, it's a battlefield. And let's not forget the nighttime. When the sun goes down, the predators multiply with radar night vision, and survival is slim. You freeze for a second trying to figure out if this is your moment of doom, then scurry to the underside. Every once in a while, fate flicks a microscopic bonus item your way. Maybe a honeydew droplet left behind by an aphid, or the dried up remnants of some insect who had a significantly worse afternoon than you. And in your bleak little existence, that's basically winning the lottery. A fresh drop of sugary goo clinging to the underside of the leaf. It's the treehopper equivalent of finding a half-wrapped candy bar on the sidewalk. Questionable, vaguely sticky, probably contaminated. But honestly, who are you to refuse? Your whole life is sap-flavored sadness. But of course, there's a catch. Somewhere in the shadows of that same leaf, yes, the single leaf you're contractually bound to for life, there's a banana spider lurking, watching, plotting, sharpening its 8 tiny metaphorical knives, just waiting for you to inch close enough to that sweet forbidden snack so it can turn you into the next tragic smear on the menu. Picture this absolute unit of an arachnid, dangling like a golden nightmare in the canopy, waiting to redecorate its web with whatever wanders by. You're a treehopper the size of a pea wearing what appears to be a chandelier made of alien eggs on your head. You should be an all-you-can-eat buffet. But here's the thing. That ridiculous helmet of yours, the one that looks like someone hot-glued disco balls to a cicada, might actually be working. Scientists think it mimics a parasitic fungus that turns ants into zombies, which is basically the rainforest equivalent of wearing a shirt that says, "I have the plague." The spider takes one look at your unfortunate headgear and thinks, "You know what? I'm good." Crisis averted. You live to suck sap another hour. With adulthood comes responsibility. It's time to bring another generation into this soggy, slim chance purgatory you call home. Treehopper romance isn't exactly a fairy tale. There's no hinge app, no love letters, no pheromone-driven meet-cutes. You just vibrate your leaf and hope someone, somewhere, feels your emotional Morse code through the cellulose. And if a female actually responds, congratulations. That's the closest thing to a soulmate you'll ever get. The whole courtship is one awkward tremor duet. 2 tiny creatures shaking a leaf like it owes them money. And then it's over. She lays the eggs, and your grand romantic legacy amounts to a cluster of fragile orbs glued to a leaf vein in a neighborhood where everything wants to turn them into breakfast. If she's feeling particularly maternal, she'll park her tired body over them like a tiny, overworked security guard who knows she can't save them all, but tries anyway. By the time your short adult life is wheezing toward its anticlimactic finale, you're exhausted. You've watched siblings, vanished wasps, birds, and the occasional aggressive breeze. You've survived only because you were lucky, or because the predators simply had better options that day. And in the end, your legacy is a handful of sap-sipping, pom-pom-headed orphans clinging to the same miserable leaf you did. until nature inevitably remembers they exist. You don't leave behind a dynasty, you leave behind statistically insignificant hope on a leaf. And somehow, that's the saddest part.